Let's try that again. Good Saturday morning, everyone. And greetings once again from Radio Wasteland Records here in Midland. And I'd like to say, hope your Saturday's off to a good start now that we have audio. Ours is off to a good start here. And again, wish the same for you. Some bright, sunshiny skies, albeit a little chilly. Not too bad, though, here in the mid-Michigan area. And I think the temps are starting to warm a little bit here and there. I think we're going to be up into the 40s by midweek, but now they're saying rain. So hopefully we can get rid of some of that snow buildup, the ice buildup on the sidewalks and streets over the, of course, here. It's typical late winter here in mid-Michigan. I think maybe, I don't know, maybe there's one more snow blow in there. We'll see what happens as we scoot toward March, which is not too far off. You know, February is just a blink, and we're there just about already, and that means March right after that, and then April, which is then Record Store Day, and it doesn't end. It just keeps moving ever forward, ever quickly. All right, let's say a few good mornings, then we'll get down to the nitty gritty today. Not just a few good mornings. Holy cow, there's a few of you out there saying hi this morning. Betty from Toledo checking in, and it's sunny down there. Good to hear. TC from TKR, Metro Boston. Hello to you and everybody as well. Gary and Doogie and the crew, good morning to you. Jennifer, good morning as well. I'm looking over here. Let's see. Rick on the west side. And Dan saying good morning to each of you. And happy Saturday to you as well. And Chuck, good morning, sir. And the one, the only, Mr. Steve Carlson from the vinyl community. Good morning to you. Yes, Steve is mentioning something here. The rumor on the street is that the podcast, Two Guys Talking About Records, is hitting its 100th episode this week. Sunny and 60 in Colorado. Sunny and 60 in Colorado. Holy cow, Steve. You guys know how to live out there, don't you? Well, since you brought that up, let's see if I can find that here. Since you brought that up, let's talk podcast for just a moment. Yeah, the Two Guys Talking About Records podcast, the one we do with Steve Carlson, my good buddy, out in Colorado now, reaches its 100th episode this weekend. So tomorrow, Sunday at 7 o'clock, we will upload that latest live one. This week, I guess Steve and I are going to look back a little bit at 99 other episodes and talk a little bit about how we got to where we are. Of course, we'll start sharing some vinyl stuff on there as well. Talk about some of our favorites and maybe a peek forward as far as what we're doing with the next 100. But yeah, it's hard to believe we started that little podcast well over a year ago now and kept it up pretty much weekly. Maybe I've missed one or two here or there for a holiday or a record store day or something along those lines down the line. But yeah, 100 episodes and it's going strong. It's got a fairly decent following on both Spotify and YouTube. We looked at those numbers a while back. I guess we should probably look at them again, but yeah, it's hitting up there. So if you're finding our little channel from the podcast, welcome, and welcome to our little corner of the universe here. So it's a fun one, and I do enjoy doing that every week with Steve as well. So we'll have a blast doing that again. But that's 100th episode of our podcast goes up live tomorrow night. Sunday night on our channel and on the and on our Spotify side of things. Okay, let's see here. Oh, a couple more kicking in. Ryan saying hey, and Betty congratulating us on 100. Thank you very much for that. Okay, couple of notes before I get to the vinyl. I picked up a couple. Well, it's kind of a clearance item. You guys know that we use and recommend strongly the Groove Washer system for cleaning your records. It's just a very good topical brush and G2 fluid to use. We have these in the store. I've carried them for a long time. I use them personally as well. But prior to the use of and the creation of the disc washer, which is pretty much the premium nowadays, the Groove Washer. Prior to this stuff, the dominant one was disc washer. That was the older one that goes back, the brush that goes back, well, heck, into the 70s, it feels like. I picked up just 3 of the disc washer brushes. I got these on clearance, so I'm passing that sale on to you. These are like $10 a piece. But do not get confused. The disc washer stuff nowadays is just a shade of its former self from the 70s and 80s. The brush quality is not great at all. So when I say it's $10, I think that's probably about worth it. But for those of you that don't want to spend 45 on the quality big one that we've got right now, I do have 3 of these. And like I said, I picked them up on clearance, good deal. So I'm passing that good deal. I think they're like $30 retail or something like that. So this is the brush and a little D4 bottle and a little brush to keep it clean and a carrying bag in there as well. So only 3 of those in stock. That's all I could get a hold of, but we do have them there for first come, first serve. But otherwise, I do strongly recommend that you stick with the new standard, the Groove Washer record care system with the G2 instead of D4. Great stuff. I use it here at the store. I use it at home. Strongly recommended. Okay, so let's see. What else do we have here? All right, let's do some vinyl, and then we'll talk a little bit about Record Store Day and where things are. We're kind of in that holding pattern right now, but there was a late shipment this week. I got one shipment in from one supplier, and then the other one was weather delayed. Not so much our weather here, but to point south where these things come from, as they had that storm system roll through last week or earlier this week that kind of mucked things up a little bit. But we did get a late shipment yesterday, so there's some stuff in here that was not in the drop video, and I want to highlight those real quick. Brand new one from Mitch Ryder on his own. This is called With Love. This is the Mitch Ryder. Let me get my thumbnail. There we go. Let's see. All songs recorded in Royal Oak, Michigan, Rust Belt Studios in August and October of 24. And what's cool about this, I remember mentioning this on the new release show last week. The record was produced by none other than Don Was. Now, I have not listened to this yet. I'll give it a few virtual spins, and we'll see, because I only have the one copy on here as well. But yeah, it's Mitch Ryder, so it's going to be Michigan Rock and Roll, produced by Don Was. I should be able to get more copies of that if it goes, and I'll give it a listen to give it a good once-over to see what we got. Also brand new, a couple copies of the new one from Dream Theater. This is called Parasomnia, and I do have the clear vinyl version of this. There's a Black Ice Indie exclusive, a little more expensive. I'm out of that, but I do have a couple copies of the clear vinyl on the shelves as we speak. All right, another late arrival. I talked about this in the new release show last week, I think, and this was a late one coming in. Normally, I just kind of look back and I kind of thumb my nose at these kind of compilations. The Now That's What I Call music series is essentially the modern version of the K-Tel records, where they just slop a bunch of various artists onto a record and call it good. But this one was a little too interesting to pass up. This is called Now That's What I Call an Era, The Sound of the Suburbs, 1977 through 1980. And this is a triple LP on colored vinyl. I think it's a red, a white, and a black. And the artists on this are amazing. And the songs, we've got The Clash, The Ramones, Iggy Pop, The Jam, The Cure, Joy Division, XTC, Blondie. I'm not going to run through all of them. Squeeze is on here. Let's see, The Stranglers, The Runaways, Patti Smith Group, Pretenders, Dexys Midnight Runners, Roxy Music, Joe Jackson, The Selector, Madness, The Specials, B-52s, Adam and the Ants, The Buggles, OMD, and the Tubeway Army, among just a ton of them. So I actually put in for a few of these because when I mentioned it in the new release show, I had folks say, you know what, that sounds fun, and they put these in pre-order. So that kind of socked away my order. I only have one copy of this left to go around, and I don't know if I can get more of them. It's on the pricier side of things, $50, but it's still kind of a fun compilation. I mean, just full of that stuff. So if I can get more of those, I will. But yeah, the others were kind of snagged up in pre-order, so we just have the one. Aerosmith and Jimmy Page. Yeah, that's kind of sticking out. They did not do a good job sealing these things. They split. This is an unofficial, but officially through our distributors. Aerosmith and Jimmy Page live on air, 1980. I think I've got a couple of these, or this is probably the last one left. So this was a radio show featuring Aerosmith with Jimmy Page on there. They do, let's see, Shakedown City, A Monkey on My Back, Dream On. So it's a mixture of Aerosmith and Zeppelin plus some other covers of them jamming. One copy of that. I don't know if I can get more. I'll do what I can. Other things that are in, we have got the Sabrina Carpenter Short and Sweet Deluxe Edition. Down to my last one of these. We've been going through them. And this one was delayed for quite some time. This is a Gracie Abrams, The Secret of Us, a deluxe edition of that release. and I just have the one of these left. For some reason, that was really tough to get in, but we do have that. I could probably get more. Other pickups, just because, grabbed a copy of the Wicked soundtrack. We should be able to get more of these. This one's going to play into Record Store Day, so if you want just the black vinyl version a little cheaper, we've got that now. Another one that perplexes, I talked with Steve on this on the podcast, I think a couple of weeks ago. This is the Miles Davis Birth of the Blue. This is a audiophile record cut from original master tapes from the Kind of Blue sessions. And this, I believe, Steve was telling me, was so hard to get a hold of. They were canceling orders left and right. They ran short, so we ran out of them. I had like 3 of them here in the store. They sold, and then lo and behold, I had a couple more on back order, and they popped in. So I've got 2 copies of this thing left, and I doubt severely that there will be any more of them. Also a very pricey one coming from Columbia Records and QRP Pressings. So they did a great job. Strictly limited. That sucker's going to go. See, one other oddity. We had an order, so I picked up another copy of Jeff Wayne's musical version of The War of the Worlds. It is exactly what it says. It's a musical based on War of the Worlds from H.G. Wells. So check that out. This is on limited edition Martian green and red weed vinyl. That goes back a ways. I think I've got an original of that in my collection, but still a fun one. Typically, I'd hold that off till October, but that's a ways off. I can get more of those if need be. So one vintage one-ish to speak of. Toss this out there as a high-end collectible. We got a copy of the 2023 pressing of Sleep Tokens, Take Me Back to Eden. This is the gold nugget vinyl variation, and it's kind of a very cool-looking one. If you're into Sleep Token, this is a collectible side of that, and it's up there a little bit, but contact me if you are interested in that. So that's a quick run through some of the stuff we've got on the shelf. I would let you go back, do a call back to the drop video from yesterday so you can kind of see what is out there and see what may be left on the vintage side as well. A couple more quick hellos on here. Let's see. I mentioned Ryan saying, hey. As TKR, congrats on the 100th. I'm glad you guys won't miss it. Saying that Steve and I make a great team. I think we do, and that's the key to having fun with the podcast, is that Steve and I are friends, and we've always gotten along on this. Let's see. Gary, hold on to a disc washer. You got that. I will do so as well. And let's see. Take a wow, please. You mean a now, I think. Concert Buddy Chance saying aloha. Hello there. Let's see, and Chance says Acoustic Sounds canceled his pre-orders for that Miles Davis title. Counting is hard, apparently. Yes, and we're seeing a lot of that, too. In fact, Steve and I are going to talk about this again. The last episode of the podcast we talked about box sets, unnecessary, but we mentioned this big Ozzy box set that's going on. They're coming up on there. And I did some digging on that and asked around about how difficult that's going to be to get to the stores. Spoiler alert, very. So I do have one order for that, and I don't think we're going to get it according to my sources, but we'll talk about that as a follow-up on the podcast on Sunday as well. So check that out. 2 Guys Talking About Records, our vinyl community podcast we do each and every week with Steve Carlson. Let's see, not much else to go other than we're ever forward to Record Store Day. I mentioned the other day, I believe that our orders are in, and it's now up to the RSD powers that be to see what we're going to get for April 12th. We put in probably, I always say this, it sounds like our biggest order. Number-wise, I think that we probably ordered over 450 titles, 450 copies of things, not titles, 450 copies of things. It's a little stressful, folks, so hopefully we get what we get, and when we get what we get, I hope you come in and get what you wanted on Record Store Day. But as we get closer, obviously lots more information. We're still working on some sort of a giveaway for that day. I'm pretty sure we're going to do mystery bags on that day as well. Going to be a big one here at the store, as it always is. Maybe a couple of other surprises. We'll see where things go with that. So that's coming up. Lots of other information, but I say this now. Mark my words. Here it is, February 2/2. Say, hey, we've got time to worry about Record Store Day. Blink, and it'll be here before you know it. So hang tough and hang tight. It's going to go very, very, very fast. All right, I am up on time for this Saturday. I hope that you can get out and enjoy yourself today here in the Mid-Michigan area. A little warmer, around that 30-degree mark, but some sunshine. If you find yourself out and about and you want to come dig through some new and vintage vinyl, stop on down to the store. We are at 716 George Street, just north of the downtown area. Not too hard to find. Just look for the Big Bus Garage and some big snow banks next to that, and you can find it. I will be here today from now until 6 p.m. tomorrow, Sunday, from 12 noon until 5 p.m. and then closed. But back at it. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on What's There Is of Instagram. You can catch us on Twitter/X. We are there as well as the YouTube channel. Subscribe to that if you have not already, please. Lots of fun stuff happening there. I'll see you guys later this afternoon for the upcoming releases show, and then tomorrow with our friend Steve Carlson for the podcast, you guys talking about records. You folks have a great weekend and a great next week, and we will talk to you next time from Radio Wasteland Records. Thanks as always for being here.